Nottingham Forest have been linked with the hottest striker on the planet currently. Welcome to your transfer news. Serhou Guirassy is currently the hottest striker on the planet and is a player that was linked to Nottingham Forest in the last transfer window. And the talks are that Stuttgart are willing to let him go. He has scored 13 goals in 7 games. He's actually broken all kinds of Bundesliga records currently. And Stuttgart sits second in the league table thanks to his goals. I think he got like 2 hat-tricks already in the first few games he's played in. And he really looks like one hell of a finisher. He's got pace, he's got power, very agile in front of goal, has like the whole repertoire, can just blast them in, dink it over the keeper, finesse it in. He can do all that and shows a lot of composure in the way he scores his goals. However, why is Stuttgart willing to let him go when they only technically signed him at the start of this season? Because he came on loan from them last year and had a full season. In fact, last season he scored 11 goals in 22 games. And scoring double figures for him has been a trait in his career so far. Let me run you through his last few relevant years. He at Amiens in France, he scored 10 goals in 24 games. And then he moved to Rennes, where he scored 19 goals in 65 games. And then obviously on loan to Stuttgart, where they only paid 9 million for the 27-year-old. Now, is this the answer to Forest problems come the African Cup of Nations? Because as we all know, Taiwo, once he's back and fully fit, will probably be going out there for Nigeria. The answer is no. Why? Because Guirassy, who started off as a French youth player playing for the unders, 18s, 19s, etc., then changed his nationality to his parents' nationality, which is Guinea. And guess what? Guinea have qualified for the African Cup of Nations, so he'll be going there most likely to represent his country. So the problem still remains. And is he worth signing when he's going to be away while Taiwo's away? Now, what is the quoted price before we go into the ins and outs of should we or should we not sign him? Well, apparently Stuttgart are only asking for 17 million for him. Now, is that because he is a slightly older? Or is that because they don't feel that he can sustain his goal scoring start to the season and maybe is going through a purple patch? I think it's a bit of a mix of both. I think 27 isn't too old for a striker. I think 27 is where a striker comes into his prime. And we have talked about this before in terms of the type of profile that Forest should be signing. Should they be going for a young, youthful, potential project? Or should they be going for the finished article, person who's renowned and scoring goals? But as we said, they do come at a price. But what I do like, and I've said, and you guys know I've said it many times before, players from the Bundesliga really do come with some pedigree. We've seen loads of them transfer over. Okay, you'll all say Jadon Sancho from Manchester United. I get that. He's probably the exception to the rule. But so many players play really well when they transfer over from the Bundesliga over to the Premier League. I think the link between the two leagues is the closest in similarity. I don't think you see the same coming from La Liga or the French League or even Serie A. But from the Bundesliga to the Premier League, best example I can give you for this season is Moussa Diaby with his move to Aston Villa. On top of that, don't forget we have Agent Mangala, who used to play for Stuttgart, and he could maybe pave the way. However, saying that, there was no crossover in the two players at Stuttgart, as obviously Mangala came to Forest last season. Excuse me. So how do I feel about this one? Honestly, from what I've seen of Guirassy, he looks quality. Pace, power, good touch, confident in front of goal. And I would be more than tempted to sign him up because I think he gives us that extra element up front that we currently don't have, or we won't have when Taiwo is out. And I get the whole AFCON issue, But we have to think longer than those 5 to 6 weeks of that competition. And could this guy be the game changer we need at Nottingham Forest? Now, it's not just Forest that are interested. I mean, that shouldn't surprise you at all. But some front runners, and it's the usual bunch when it comes to players being linked with the same players as Forest, is West Ham United and, of course, Brentford. Now, Brentford will be desperate to get someone in to replace Ivan Toney, because it looks like Ivan Toney may be moving to the likes of Arsenal. And West Ham still haven't found that Antonio replacement. It looks like Ings hasn't really worked out for them. So they are still in the hunt for a striker. And with, what was the striker they got from Italy called? He went away. He didn't work out from last season. So we will have competition for him. Now, do I feel this link is strong enough? I think everything we see in international windows needs to be taken with a pinch of salt, because you are looking at papers and journalists that are desperately trying to fill column inches with football talk. And what better way to fill those inches than talk about transfers? But if he does come in January, it means we probably won't see him until February. But at 17 million, I feel that this guy is a real good deal to be done. A striker who has scored as many goals as he has, who has been as consistent as he has, getting double figures, should be costing us a lot more than that. Yes, I know we paid about the same for Taiwo, because getting from the Bundesliga always seems to be cheaper than buying from the Premier League, or even kids from the Premier League. We've seen so many go for like 40, 45, 50 million. Look at Brennan Johnson as well. So it is smart business to be recruiting from the likes of the Bundesliga. What do you guys think of Guirassy? Have any of you seen him? Have any of you heard of him before? Were you aware of how hot he has started this season? He's outscoring Kane. He's broken Lewandowski's starting record to a season. This guy, is he going through a purple patch, or is he the real deal? Right, moving on to our next story. And this one, I mean, I had to bring it up because it's absolutely pathetic in the nature of it. But before I do, we do have a live goal stream for you guys tonight. We'll be talking all things Forest from 8:30 with the boys. So make sure you tune in for that. Make sure you've hit that like and subscribe button if you are new here. Okay, Sheffield United, one of my most hated teams, have actually had the audacity to have in their local papers a headline about them being ahead of Nottingham Forest. Not in the table, because they could only dream of that, but in the attendance table to their home match. Sheffield United, who are currently sitting 13th in the attendance table, used that as a headline to say they are ahead of Nottingham Forest, who sit 14th. Let me give you the attendance here. Bramall Lane, 31,218 on average. The City Ground, 29,195 on average this season. How desperate are people for stories, and how desperate is Sheffield United to get anything up on Nottingham Forest that they are willing to put such a pointless story as one of their headline stories? This is what I'm talking to you guys about when it comes to journalists and column inches in the international friendlies or qualifying week. But who cares, Sheffield United? One, I don't even believe your numbers anyway. Secondly, look at the table that counts the most. And that, of course, is the Premier League table. And let me know how you're enjoying that 1 point. But we are all behind you. Yes, I want you down, but I want you down with 11 points, level with what Derby did, because you are going down, like it or lump it. What's really interesting though, because this table thing did catch my eye, who do you guys think is bottom of that table? I would have had it nailed on to be Luton, but Luton are not bottom of that table. The team that's holding the wooden spoon on this one is none other than Bournemouth, with their Bike Shed Stadium, who averaged 10,663. and Luton are outdoing them by nearly 100 on average with 10,726. To be honest, both those teams should be ashamed by the stadiums they currently hold. And then in third place from bottom, it had to be the BTEC Stadium in Brentford, and that makes up your bottom three. But back to the point here. This does show you that there is definitely tension. I mean, we all already know this between Sheffield United and their jealousy for Nottingham Forest. And this is the one stat they can find where they put themselves ahead of us. So enjoy that. And remember that stat when you're back in the championship. All right, guys, that brings you up to date with your Nottingham Forest news today. I really want to know your thoughts on the striker from Stuttgart. Would you take him knowing that AFCON is coming up and we'll miss out on him? Is the short-term pain worth it for the long-term gain? Let me know in the comments down below. We'll see you tonight at 8:30. And as always, come on, you Reds.